Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking out these steps. Some railroad ties or 6x6 is anchored down, and we're going to be replacing it with my absolute favorite way to do steps. This is the easiest and the awesomest way to do stepping, in my opinion. This is Black Hills natural stone step. Easy to build, quick to build, looks awesome. We use a pile of this stuff. I'll show you how to put them in today. Let's get rolling. Simple project. I think there's 7 steps that are going to be going in here, and do a little bit of landscape mulch around it. Nothing extreme. And then at the top, we're going to do a little landing. We're going to take out this. Do a little landing in here. There's a lot of water that comes down here, and it seems to want to sit right here in this dip. Obviously, I can't change the blacktop, but I'm going to rework the grades so that this is the lowest point and it'll slope this direction from here. So I think we can rework that to solve that problem. We're also gonna redo a little bit of grading right here on the corner to take the water that's coming down this driveway and just shoot it out in the lawn so less water ends up there. Okay, so the first thing that I need to decide is, where do I start setting my steps? Do I start setting them here? Do I start setting them here? And how deep do I set them? How low shall I set the first one so that after 7 steps I end up at the right height up there? So this is what I did. Now, natural stone steps tend to be different thicknesses. You might have anything from 4 to 7 inches. So I stacked them all on top of each other, obviously disregarding the pallet. And I measured from here to here, that thickness. I measured this thickness, and I came up with 43 inches. That's if they were setting level, and I want to tilt them so the back is just a touch higher than the front to make sure that water sheds off. So I figured 45 inches of step. I want the top of the step to come in flush with this, or a touch lower, so that I can pitch this down. I could also pitch it off the sides. So I set my laser on here, and I dropped 45 inches down, and that tells me how deep the bottom of the first step should be. And then I'll set that step, set the next step, set the next step, and work my way up. And I have a landing here, so I'm not really stressed out about, say, like the depth of the step makes a difference on whether I end up here or whether I end up here with the last step. You know, how deep that step tread is. And there again, with natural stone, that's variable. So some of them might be 14 inches, and I might do one that's like 40 inches, but it has to be something that walks nicely. I either want 1 step, or I want to be able to do like 2 steps before another step. So I don't want it to walk awkward. Go over that one more time. I'll set my laser up there at the point where I want to come in. And the laser just basically shoots a level beam that I catch and tells me height differences. So set it on there. Drop down 45 inches. After I stack all of my steps on top of each other, I should be level with that. And I'm just thinking about that. I don't really want to be level with that. I'd like to be an inch low, so I have some slope. So I'm going to drop another inch, which would put me on 6.5. Now I should come in an inch low up there, which is good. That way I have some slope on my pavers or my flagstone landing up there. So skip science class and watch this video. Okay, so I figured out the distance down from the top that my first step needs to sit. Then I dropped it another 6 inches, and that was excavation. And then brought it up 6 inches and filled in 2B cleanstone. I have these set on a bed of 6 inches of 2B cleanstone, number 67s, 57s, I'm not sure what the number is on them. The grade isn't quite level, so I'm gonna need to add just a touch of dirt over there and maybe cut it down over here a little bit to make sure that the step tread is the same, the depth of the step tread. So The next thing I like to do, I like to look at all my steps and try to pick the widest ones to go on the bottom. And that's just kind of personal preference. I think it looks better to go from a super wide step to maybe a little more of a narrow one. Gives it like a grand staircase look. So once I have the stone in, I get it pretty level with the laser, and then we use a 6-foot screed bar or 6-foot level and just drag it across the top until it's about sitting the way I want. Typically like the back just a touch high, so that the step slopes front a bit. You have to watch with that, because if you do that on every step, you know, if you're a ½ an inch up on each step, you gain, you know, an inch or two until you get to the top, so you might come up too high. So you have to figure that in when you're doing your math. Once that's screeded, you can just you can either strap it in, or we should be able to use our Encon attachment, the grapple, and just set them down, and then we'll check them with the level yet as well as you can. They're natural stones, so the surface is a little bit rough, but the other thing I really look for is make sure it's pretty much level side to side and sloped front just a bit. Okay, just a few tips when you actually come to set these. I talked about setting the first step, but I didn't really talk about what we do to keep moving on up. After each step we set, it looks something like this, which if I have a really narrow step, I could just fill in stone and set it about right here and keep climbing. But my step's pretty wide, it's not gonna fit. So I'll flip front my fabric, excavate out at about the depth of the stone. That's typically the depth I'll dig, because that'll give me 6 inches of base, because these steps are more or less 6 inches, sometimes 7, sometimes 4, but about like that. So I'll just dig back here into the bank another, depends on how wide my step is. I'll have to take maybe 2 feet out on this one. So after I have that dug out, flip back the fabric, fill in the stone, compact it. We use a jumping jack for this. You could use a vibra plate if you have one. You can even use a hand tamp if that's all you have. But I might put in a little bit less. Rather than putting all of it in at a time, I might put half of it in, tamp it down, put another half on. But one like this, it's big enough that I can put all the stone in at once. And then once I have that stone in, I'll just use my 6-foot level screed bar, just like I did on the first step. And you just continue that until you reach the top. I would recommend, so I have 7 steps total. I already have 4 in here. I'm gonna check my grades again with my laser. I'm gonna shoot to the top of the blacktop. I'm gonna shoot off the top of the step just to see if we're coming in the way we should. Because if we're a little bit low, I might pitch them a little bit harder. I can gain a little bit of hike, or I might flatten them out just a touch, a little bit more if I'm coming in too high. That way I'll come in a little lower. Because they are natural stone, it's hard to do solid math on them because they vary so much. The other thing that I was going to talk about is step treads. How wide do I want to go? I'm always watching the grade around it. See how this one's about running into there. This one's about running into there. So you get the idea. I wanna keep that grade. If this grade was much steeper, then I would have had to climb much faster, and we may have gone with like a 12-inch step tread, and we would have gained height a lot quicker. That kind of helps. If the grade is very gradual, I might do a series of 3 steps and then a long landing, and then another series of 3 steps. You can get creative on what you want to do there. I will say that I like to test them to make sure they don't walk awkwardly. Like I either want 2 comfortable steps, 2 steps, like we've got here, or I want to be able to do 1 step or 4 steps. I don't want some for weird half step. 1 step, that's a little big. I like it to walk nicely. So test them, see what you like. All right, ready for the next step. Well, look at that. I think it came out rather nicely. We did put a little flagstone landing on the top. Same concept. We excavate so we have room for 6 inches of 2B, compact that in, then we cut in our flagstone pieces and go in and level them. And then there's the jointing material that we use, grout if you will, is Wetlock from SRW. It's a resin sand, cures and gets super hard, but it's also a little more flexible than something like, say, mortar. Mortar would crack and break, and this doesn't do that. And it's permeable. As you can tell, one of the things we like to do with natural stone steps is we like to put some outcroppings of boulders in. It helps with the grade transition, and it looks awesome. That's all. And I grabbed a few plants from the shop this morning, tucked those in, we mulched it up. And this, folks, is my favorite kind of steps. Favorite. Yeah, you just have to live with it. It's the best I can do. Oh, yeah, why I like these. They're simple, they're fast, they look good. We put this in a day, well, 2 days, but we didn't set our first step yesterday till lunchtime. So basically the install from tearing out to completely finish, day and a half. Can't beat that. It kind of fits our style. We like a lot of the work we do has a pretty rustic look to it, and the natural stone and boulders lends itself to that look. We're not super big into the modern look, and so like it looks. Easy, fast to install. The only downside to it is this product is pretty expensive. I don't know the price on it, but I know it's not the cheapest product that you can buy. But I think you make up for it in how fast you can install it. So let me know what you think of this project. Any questions on the install, any comments, I will read them. I will get back to them. If you like to see these kinds of projects, we do a lot of water features and we do a lot of hardscape. But yeah, that's the kind of work we do. We're releasing a new video every Saturday. Subscribe to the channel and I'll see you guys on the next one.